श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्य कवितार्के केसरी वेदांत आचार्य वर्यो में सन्निधत्तां सदाहृति श्रीवासरंग परकाल मुनित्रयाप्त लक्ष्मात्मरक्षण इत्युद्योगागमान्तम् आचार्य भक्ति परिपूतमनर्गशीलं गोपाल देशिक मुनिं गुरुमाश्रयामः. स्वामी देशिकन् शरणागति दीपिका. Swami has been focusing on first the Paratattvam and the Sharira Shariri Bhavam, that we are all part of him as the Shariram. And then Swami started describing the Bhakti Yoga. Now today Sloka 24 and 25, let's enjoy the Lord's Palapradattvam, the way he grants the desires which people ask, pray to. He grants everything, anything and everything that one desires and prays for. He is prayed to get the fruit. Even if they go to Devatantaram, other Devatas, they grant the fruits as given to him by the Lord Sriman Narayana through the Devatas to the devotee of those Devatas. Anyway, here in the Slokam 24, the Lord's Palapradattva is described. How the conferrer of fruit is talked about. Di samskritan vidadhatamiha karma bhedan suddham chite manasi chintayatam swamekam tvat karma shakta manasam api chaparesham sute palanyabhimatani bhavan prasannaha di samskritan vidadhatamiha karma bhedan Suddham chite manasi chintayatam swamekam tvat karma shakta manasam api chaparesham sute palanyabhimatani bhavan prasannaha. To those people who with their minds completely clean with jnanam, they perform in the purest manner as declared in the Vedas. They perform karma as laid down in the Karma Kanda of Vedas. They perform several rites, rituals. That is one. To those who meditate on their own Atma, on their Jivatma, with minds disciplined, and those who do all karmas in a dedication to you as a manner of worshipping you, to all of them you confer, award, reward the desired fruits desired by them, by the devotees. So, He Nathane, O Lord, Iha in this world, the Samskritan, Swatma, Paramatma, Jnanangal, with the knowledge about the Jivatma as well as the Paramatma and the relation. Karma Bhedan, they perform the Yagam, Danam, such karmas as described, as laid down in Vedas. Vidadata, those who perform that. Jite manasi, those who control their minds with yama niyama, like etc. Yama niyama, dhyanam, dharanam, like that. Suddham, karmendriyam, jnanendriyam, manas, pranan, beyond all these things. Suddham. And swam ekam, the Jivatma which is beyond the Karmendriyam, beyond the Jnanendriyam, beyond Manas, beyond Buddhi. That is the Jivatma, the self. They meditate on the Jivatma, the Jnana Yogis. Tvat karma shakta manasam. Like that, they also, in every karma, they detach themselves from the fruit of the karma and they perform with sattvika tyagam, with Bhagavat Kaikarya Ruchi, in a manner of worshipping as Bhagavad Aradhanam. They do everything, all their actions. So, those people, like that, you are Atma Swarup, Antaratma of all Devatas, the master of everyone. Such you get pleased with all this and grant the fruits desired by them respectively. Bhavan prasannaha abhimatani palani sute. Whatever they desire, you grant them. So the Lord's Palapradatvam is dealt with in this beautiful sloka. The karma or action itself, the conferrer of fruit, is refuted. So, three classes of aspirant, three classes of devotees are referred in this sloka. 1. Karma Yoga, 2. Jnana Yoga, 3. Bhakti Yoga. 3 people. Those who perform the rites and rituals obtained in the Vedas, Vedic karmas like Yagam, Yajnam, Dhanam, etc. Second reference is made to those who contemplate on their own individual soul, the Jivatma, without the jnanam that it is subservient to the Lord, it is sesha to the Lord. They would like to have the bliss of enjoying their own Jivatma. This is known as Kaivalya. Kaivalya Anandam. It is said to be capable of giving a high degree of Anandam. Nammalvar, of course, he rejects it, calling it, belittles it, calling it Terivariya Alavalla Chitranbam. But to the extent it goes, it is reported to be high class bliss, the Jivatma Sakshatkara. But even this Jivatma Sakshatkaram, that Anandam, is rewarded, conferred on that person, the Jnana Yogi, by the Lord, by Perumal. And the third category, to whom the Lord conferring of fruit is the one who does acts not to any fruit they can bring in, but as a method of worship. To the Karma Yogi, every act of karma is Kaikarya, work is worship to them. Lord Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Yat Karoshi, Yat Snasi, Yat Jugoshi, Dadasiyat, Yat Tapasyasi Kaunteya, Tat Kurushva Madarpana. Whatever that you do, whatever that you perform austerities, whatever you give as dhanam, whatever you consume, and whatever tapas that you do, everything, tat kurushva madarpanam. You do as if it is an offering to me as Bhagavat Arpanam. They do acts which are given while they do as Bhagavat Arpanam. So the Lord becomes prasannam, pleased by these acts, by all three devotees, and awards them or rewards them or confers them on the desired fruits. So, in Rahasya-Saram, Desika explains further that the essential nature of different spiritual means, disciplines are karma, jnana, bhakti yoga. When a person realizes his Jivatma through the discipline of jnana yogam, or he does the karma yogam, he becomes qualified for bhakti yoga. Karma yoga is the performance of a particular karma, like Tirtha Yatra, or doing dhanam, or doing yagam, a specific act which is to be chosen, one of them. Besides doing nitya karma, naimittika karma, all that. So, karma yoga is the performance of particular karma that's possible for him without having the attachment of kartrutvam, the doership, and palam, and sambandham, along with the performance of ordained duties, the nitya, naimittika, kamya karma. Everything without attaching to the fruits. with the essential knowledge of the Jivatman and Paramatman gained from the Shastras. Krishna says, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva. The particular chosen karma should be performed without any desire in the fruit thereof, and as a worship, aradhanam to the Perumal, regularly till it becomes fruitful. It's necessary that one should surrender to the Lord for success in Karma Yoga. Also, as Karma Yoga involves in itself the essential jnanam of Jivatma, it may directly lead to the experience of the Jivatma, the Kaivalyanandam, the Jivatma Sakshatkaram. It may, for some Karma Yogi, few, or it may lead to the realization of Jivatma through Jnana Yoga. So Karma Yoga can straight away give the Kaivalyanandam, the Jivatma Sakshatkaram, Jivatma Anubhavam, or it can lead to culminate into Jnana Yoga, which will make him realize the Jivatma. So Jnana Yoga thus is the incessant, continuous, uninterrupted remembrance of the essential nature of Jivatma, who is different and distinct from the Achetana, the Panchabhutam, the body, who is the body of, and Jivatma is the body of Paramatma by virtue of him being supported, by being ruled over, by being directed, by being used for his own purposes. This can be done only when one has gained victory over the mind through Karma Yoga. So Jnana Yoga is not possible without performance of Karma Yoga. So one should pray and surrender unto the Lord. Manas samyamya machittaha yukta asita matparaha. Krishna says, when an aspirant realizes the true nature of his Jivatma through Jnana Yoga, gained through Karma Yoga, he becomes qualified for Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga is a continuous loving remembrance of the essential nature, divine form, auspicious qualities and glories of Paramatma. The Jnana Yoga is, as taught in the Gita, reflection upon the pure nature of Jivatma, not Paramatma. It's not the meditation upon the oneness of the Atma or meditation upon Paramatma. As it is clearly mentioned that one becomes qualified for Bhakti Yoga only when he realizes that he is Sheshabhuta, he is utterly subservient to Perumal. It is established that Jnana Yoga mentioned here is related to the meditation on the Jivatma, whereas Bhakti Yoga is meditation on the auspicious qualities of Paramatma, who is one independent reality and not subordinated to anyone whatsoever. And the Jivatma is always subservient to Paramatma. That realization is required for Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga ka paraikanta pritya dhyanadishu sthiti. This kind of reflection or remembrance is a continuous process. So, this Bhakti Yoga is supported by various accessories, such as the performance of Varnashrama Dharma. One has to be a Brahmana, Kshatriya or Vaishya. The ordained duties of one's station in life, by which one will enhance his Sattva Gunam, subduing his Rajasa Tamasa Gunam, must have studied Vedas and Upanishad. Bhakti Yoga is a means for attainment of all the four objects of life according to one's own desire. Lord declares in Gita that a jnani who has single devotion toward the Lord and is ever united with the Lord, he is most celebrated and is dear to him. Arti Artharti Jignasu Jnani. All others aspiring for wealth or self-experience are missing the ultimate object of life, that is moksha. The attainment of other things other than moksha is temporary, transitory, alpam, and little, too little, meager. So Bhakti Yoga, which is prescribed as the means for moksha, is called Parabhakti. Samanya Bhakti is the ordinary love towards the Lord which is generated on account of association with the Bhagavatas, will be the cause for Parabhakti. For gaining this Parabhakti, one has to gain the knowledge of reality through Shastra, practice Karma Jnana Yoga, gain realization of the true nature of Jivatma through Yoga, This parabhakti leads to a strong desire and intense discipline to realize the Lord. The disciple then wants the Lord to show himself one day. That's the stage of parabhakti. The next stage is parajnana. That's the paripurna sakshatkara, wholesome realization of Perumal. That is granted by the Lord for a short while, the wholesome realization, by his daya, ultimate vatsalya, because of the intense desire of the devotee. The next is parama bhakti. That's the most important stage. Ramanuja seeks all these things in Sharanagati Gadyam by surrendering into Perumal, doing prapatti. This is infinite love for the Lord, parama bhakti, which cannot rest without realizing him always, eternally. When an aspirant has a flash of the Supreme Param Brahman, which is Peranandam, infinite, absolute bliss, he cannot contain himself without gaining that eternally. He would feel lost like a fish out of the water. He feels great affliction just as a highly thirsty person when he sees a lake. He would like to quench his thirst by attaining the lake. He cannot bear himself without experiencing the Lord even for a moment. Nammalvar has this anguish, viraha tapam, languishing in love, all these things. For those people who are incapable of adopting the means of Bhakti Yogam, the Shastras prescribe the means of Prapatti. And what is the qualification for Bhakti Yogam? One should have the ability for practicing Bhakti Yogam, Shakti. Number 2, one should have the necessary knowledge from Shastras. Number 3, one should not have the disqualification for Bhakti Yogam, such as birth. 4th, one should have the sattvic patience for obtaining the final result. It may take few janmas. Even if we are born as a Brahmin, we are not qualified because we don't have Shakti, we don't have necessary knowledge, we don't have the patience to delay anything. So, thus, Prapatti, though it's a Bhakti Yogam, a means for attainment of all desires, it stands in the place of Parabhakti, Bhakti Yogam, and a person who adopts this means can attain according to his desire the successive stages of Parajnanam and Parama Bhakti. The disqualification for Bhakti Yogam happens to be the qualification for Prapatti. You seek Perumal to be in the place of Bhakti Yoga Sthanam. So Prapatti and Bhakti Yogam are the two different kinds of aspirants for moksha. Though these two paths are different, they lead to a common goal, attainment of Parabrahma. The idea is that the fruit of these two paths is the same. The upasanas are different kinds, as beautifully expounded and explained and declared in Upanishad and Brahma Sutra. For Prapatti also there are mantras which are being prescribed. The acharyas know. So that's the meaning of the 24th slokam, where he talks about the emphasis here in the slokam that the Lord is the one who grants all reward, regardless. And Karma Yogi is popularly referred to as doing one's duty. All of us need to do our duty with detachment to the fruits of that duty. Similarly, that yat karoshi tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever that act we do as Bhagavad Arpanam. Let it be your worship, let it be your work, let it be your studies, let it be anything. Then the Lord becomes pleased and slowly we cultivate to get to realize Him. Now we go to the next sloka. Udbahu bhavam apahaya yataiva garvaha pramshum palartamabhiyachati yogi chintya yevam sudushkaramupaya ghanam vihaya sthane niveshayati tasya vichakshanastuam udbahu bhavamapahaya yataiva karvaha pramshum palartamabhiyachati yogi chintya. Evam sudushkaramupaya ghanam vihaya sthane niveshayati tasya vichakchanastvam. There is also another patam, vichakchanam tvam. But that's not appropriate, the commentators say. The right one is vichakchanastvam, more appropriate. So, one who is interested to get moksha has to perform the Ashtanga Yoga. And if one is not capable, then in order to attain the same moksha, he needs to take the cue from Krishna's 18th chapter 66th slokam. Mamekam sharanam vraja, yennai oruvanaye sharanamade, aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. I will get you rid of all papams and grant you moksha. So Mukunda, so here Lord meditated upon by yogis like a man who is a dwarf, who is short, who cannot reach the height, but he wants a fruit from the tree. He cannot reach, he is so short, it is beyond his reach, but he wants the fruit. So what he does, he gives his attempt to jump, keep jumping, which is not possible because it's so high. So what he done, he fervently, he pleads and prays and pleads to a tall person who is there to secure the fruit for him. In the same way, a buddhiman, an intellect, a clever person gives up the group of upayam, karmanyana bhakti yogam, the means which are too terse, too arduous, too difficult to be adopted by him, by us, and in their place relies on you, O Lord upon by yogis, O the Lord who is meditated by the yogis. They rely on you instead of performing the means. So after dealing with Ashtanga Bhakti Yogam in the Sloka 21 and explain the Salambam, the use with the meditating on the divine form in the Sloka 22, and Niralambam, the formless Divyatma Swarupam of Brahman in the Sloka 23. After dealing with this Ashtanga Bhakti Yogam and all these aspects in 21, 22, 23 Slokam, and after dealing with Karmanyana Yogam, Desika begins to deal with Prapatti Yogam in detail now. Because that's the very purpose of the central focus in the Stotram, Saranagati Deepika. A reference to all these things, other upayams have been made in the previous slokam, was made only to impress on us the difficulty in performing those things, which is entirely beyond each one of us. In order to make home the point, drill into our head, he explained all these things. And all these things have been very extensively and exhaustively described in Srimad Rahasyatraya Saram. One has to learn from an Acharya. It's such a beautiful magnum opus of Vedanta Desika, the Saranagati Tattvam in Rahasyatraya Saram. So a spiritual should have artitvam, a keen sense of wanting. So the eligibility of an aspirant for performing prapatti is described. So here the beautiful manner for the bhakti yogi, a perfect understanding of Shastra that prescribe the means to be adopted, a capacity or capability to practice that, a qualification of birth required in 3 varnams. These 3 make him entitled to Bhakti Yoga. Whereas for Prapatti, one should have a general understanding of the means prescribed in the Shastra. Prapatti means 2, ability to perform Sharanagati. 3. Inability for following Karma Jnana Bhakti Yoga. And 4. Not willing to wait for any more janma. So the scriptures declare that the Lord is possible of being attained by prapatti. And irrespective of caste, color, creed, gender, anyone can perform. The path of this prapatti is applicable universally to all. Just like Satyam vada, dharmam chara, speak truth, do dharma. It is applicable for everyone, even though it is part of the Veda, even though it is part of the Shruti. So these virtues are sarvadhikaram, means not sarvadhikari, sarva adhikaram. Everybody is qualified to follow, even though they may not be qualified to study Vedas. But Satyam vada, true, speak truth. Irrespective of any difference whatsoever, prapatti is prescribed in respect of all people. No caste, no color, no creed, no gender. Sarvasya sharanam sugrit, mumukshurvai sharanamaham prapatye. All these Vedic statements as well as statements of Smritis establish that prapatti is a spiritual means of obtaining moksham, which applies to andanar, andiyar, mattum anaithulagum, nondavare mudalaga. One has to feel repentant, feel remorse that we are living in the samsara sagaram when we need to get rid of it. So a reference to other upayams was made only to impress on the difficulty in nature. So unless one strives, how can one derive any benefit? This is certainly true as far as it goes. But we do not see a short man. We do not see a short man jumping to take the fruit. He would only call for somebody who is in the neighborhood, a tall guy, "Sir, can you please help me get that fruit?" And he plucks and gives it to him. So that the fruit is what we desire. Whether we are capable of jumping or not is beside the point. As long as we want the fruit and we know what to do, either jump if you are capable, or ask anyone who is able to jump or lift or raise his hand and take. Do we not see that in our day-to-day life? If there is one who is capable of securing it for us, and if that person is compassionate, merciful, willing to help, well disposed towards us, can we not approach him in the proper way, requesting him, enlisting his help, obtain what we want? Of course, that person is the Lord. He is Bhakta Vatsalyan. He is the one whom yogis visualize by Samadhi Yogam. So it will be wise on our part to give up those ideas of adopting, because we are so short, to jump and get the fruit, to follow other upayams, which we know is beyond us, and to place the Lord in the place of those several upayams, impossible upayams for us. So the Lord becomes himself now as the means in the Prapatti Yoga. Whereas he was only the fruit for Karma Jnana Bhakti Yoga. He was only a fruit giver, fruit granter in the Karma Jnana Bhakti Yoga. Here he is the means. He is the means. The idea lies at the very fruit of doctrine of Prapatti, Saranagati. And hence it is mentioned in the very outset before Desika jumps into the description of Prapatti. Vichakchanastvam. Swami mentions here. Vichakchanastvam. Vichakchanam. Palamtarum Vishayatil Maha Samarthar. Tvam. Devarir. Because Sarvajñar, Sarvashakti, Vatsalyan, Bhakta Vatsalyan, Ashrita Vatsalan. In that Niveshayati, the one who is desirous of moksham keeps the Lord in that place, who is Bhakta Vatsalyan, who is Sarvajñan, who is Sarvashaktan, who is Swami, but who is Shaulabhyan, who is Shaushilyan. Adiye, Dhanyosmi, Acharyan Trivadikale Sharanam, Kavitarkika Simhaya Kalyana Gunashaline, Srimate Venkateshaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha.